3 weeks after the decree was signed, Claire was sitting at her new dining table on a Sunday morning, coffee in hand. Sunlight coming through the window, she had finally gotten around to cleaning. She was making a list. Not a grocery list. Not a to-do list. A list of things she wanted to do that she had never done. Take a pottery class. Drive to Marfa alone. Read every book on the shelf she had bought and never opened because there was always something more pressing. Something more useful. Something for someone else. She was halfway down the page when her phone rang. Unknown number. Texas area code. She almost let it go to voicemail. She did not know why she answered. She would think about that later, and still not have a good explanation. Something instinctive. The way you sometimes pick up a call you cannot explain. Is this Claire Dawson? The voice was careful. Measured. Like someone who had rehearsed the first sentence many times and was now committed to saying it. It is, Claire said. A pause. My name is Jenna Calloway. I think we need to talk. Claire set down her coffee. She did not say anything immediately. She had imagined this conversation before. In the early months, when she was still sitting with what she knew and deciding what to do about it, she had sometimes wondered what she would say if she ever spoke to Jenna. Whether she would be angry. Whether she would cry. Whether she would hang up. She did none of those things. She simply said, "Okay, I'm listening." What Jenna told her in the next 20 minutes was not what Claire expected. She had expected defensiveness. Excuses. Maybe an apology wrapped in justification. What she got instead was information. Jenna Calloway was 34 years old. She worked in commercial real estate on the east side of Austin. She and Marcus had met at an industry networking event 2.5 years before Claire filed for divorce. She had not known he was married. Not at first. By the time she found out, she was already in something she did not know how to leave cleanly. She was not proud of that. She said so directly, without asking Claire to forgive her for it. But that was not why she was calling. She was calling because of what she had found. 3 months before Claire served the divorce papers, Jenna had ended things with Marcus. The reason was not guilt, though guilt was present. The reason was something she had seen on his laptop one evening when he left it open on her kitchen counter. A document. A transfer of assets. Claire's grip tightened slightly on the phone. What kind of transfer? She asked. Jenna took a breath. A property transfer. A commercial building on the east side. Marcus had been acquiring it quietly for about 18 months, through a shell company. The building was worth somewhere around $340,000 at the time I saw the document. Claire was quiet. He transferred it, Jenna continued. 2 weeks before you filed. Into his brother's name. The room was very still. Claire sat at her dining table, the one she had built herself on a Saturday morning, and let that information settle. A $340,000 commercial property. Transferred to his brother's name. 2 weeks before the divorce filing. Which meant it had not appeared in his financial disclosure. Which meant the forensic accountant had not known to look for it. Which meant the settlement, the one she had believed was complete, was not. She thought about Patricia. About the courtroom. About the folder she had slid across the table. She had been thorough. She had not been thorough enough. And then, very quietly, very clearly, she thought, this is not over. Before I tell you what Claire did next and what happened when Patricia Owens received that phone call on a Monday morning, I want to pause here. Have you ever thought something was finished, only to find out there was still one more thing to face? Tell me in the comments. And if you have been here since episode 1, thank you. If this is your first time, please subscribe. Because what Claire did with this information is exactly what Marcus never thought she was capable of. Patricia Owens picked up on the second ring. Claire told her everything. Jenna's call. The property. The shell company. The transfer to Marcus's brother 2 weeks before the filing. Patricia was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Do you know the name of the shell company?" "No," Claire said. "But Jenna does." Another pause. "Can she document what she saw?" "She says she took a photo of the screen," Claire said. "She's had it on her phone for 8 months. She didn't know what to do with it." Patricia's voice shifted slightly. Not louder. Just more precise. "Claire, what Marcus did, transferring marital assets to a third party immediately before filing. That is called fraudulent conveyance. It is a serious legal matter. If we can document this, we can go back to court. The legal process that followed was not fast. Nothing involving courts is ever fast. But Patricia filed a motion to reopen the financial proceedings within the week, citing newly discovered evidence of asset concealment. The motion included Jenna's sworn affidavit, the photograph she had taken of Marcus's screen, and a formal request for full disclosure of all entities in which Marcus or his immediate family members held any ownership interest. Marcus's attorney filed an objection. The judge overruled it. The discovery process began again. What the forensic accountant found this time went beyond the commercial building. The shell company, registered in Delaware under a name that had nothing to do with Marcus Webb or his consulting firm, had been active for 3 years. During that time, it had acquired 2 properties: the commercial building Jenna had seen and a vacant lot in a rapidly developing part of East Austin that had quietly tripled in value. Combined assessed value at the time of discovery: $610,000. None of it had appeared in his original disclosure. Marcus's attorney requested a settlement conference before the matter went back before a judge. Claire sat across the table from Marcus for the first time since the original hearing. He looked smaller than she remembered. Not physically. Something else. The particular smallness that comes when a person realizes the version of themselves they believed in has been disproven. His attorney proposed a revised settlement. Patricia leaned over and said quietly, "You don't have to take it." Claire looked at Marcus across the table. She thought about the apartment in South Austin, the dining table, the list she had been writing on a Sunday morning when her phone rang, the pottery class she had not yet taken, the drive to Marfa she had been planning. She thought about the 8 years. And she thought about something her grandmother had told her once, a long time ago. She had said, "Knowing your worth is not the same as demanding it. But you cannot do one without the other." Counter, Claire said. The final revised settlement took 6 weeks to negotiate. When it was signed, Claire received her full share of the marital assets, including her portion of the properties Marcus had attempted to conceal. She also received what is called a sanctions award, a financial penalty the court imposed on Marcus for his deliberate concealment during the original disclosure process. His brother was required to transfer the commercial building back into the marital estate before the division could be completed. Marcus's consulting firm, the one Claire had spent years helping build from the back of their apartment on weekday evenings, was sold as part of the settlement. His attorney sent a terse one-line email when it was done. Patricia forwarded it to Claire with a single note. "It's over. You were extraordinary." Claire took that drive to Marfa 2 weeks later. 8 hours alone in the car. West Texas opening up around her, the landscape getting wider and quieter the further she went. She checked into a small adobe guest house on the edge of town. She ate dinner alone at a table by the window. She ordered a glass of wine she did not have to justify to anyone. She sat there for a long time after the plates were cleared. Not thinking about Marcus. Not thinking about the settlement. Not thinking about shell companies or forensic accountants or courtrooms. Just sitting. In a town she had always wanted to visit. At a table she had chosen herself. On a trip no one had told her she could take. She opened her journal. She did not write down what she was grateful for. She wrote down what she was building next. "I want to ask you something before we close. Have you ever had to go back after you thought something was finished and face one more thing you did not expect? Tell me in the comments. And if Claire's story stayed with you, if something in it felt familiar, please share it with someone who might need to hear it today." This was Claire Dawson's story. A woman who paid attention when everyone assumed she wasn't. Who prepared when everyone assumed she was standing still. Who went back when most people would have walked away. She did not win because she was lucky. She won because she was ready. And she had been ready for a very long time. Thank you for being here today. If you are not subscribed yet, I would love to have you here for the next story. It comes from a different city, a different marriage, a different kind of betrayal, but the same quiet strength. I will see you next week.